Good evening and welcome to Real Talk, where every Sunday night we offer insight, education, and resources to in home caregivers and those affected in their world. These are the children, the parents, the extended family, and everyone who loves them. And our goal is to offer real life topics and learning through discussing real issues and offering real solutions. And tonight I'm especially excited to welcome our guest because this is somebody who's very important to Newborn Care Solutions, and that is Lynn Miller. She is our marketing director. So most of you have never seen her face, but you see the effects of what she does. And we are very blessed to have her. And tonight we're going to talk about one of the aspects of marketing and one aspect of kind of what Lynn does for us, but to give you as our audience a broader understanding around a lot of things that are related to social media. And what we're going to do is we're going to unpack the three biggest myths around social media and social media marketing for businesses. So before we jump into it, Lynn, first off, welcome. It's great to have you.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here.
And before we jump into this, so that our audience can get to know you just a little bit, tell us a little bit about your journey to this point in your career and what it is that you like about marketing that excites you and makes you want to do this and help other people learn about it.
Well, I love marketing because when I was a child, my mom said that I would run into the living room only when commercials were playing. I was hooked on jingles and commercials. Me and my twin brother could be playing off somewhere because she watched her, afternoon stories. But the minute the commercials come on, I would tear in there to watch the commercials and then leave. Then, of course, when I was growing up, I never wanted to be Samantha. I always wanted to be Darren and work at an advertising agency. And I just love it. And the funny thing is I don't watch a lot of TV, but I love commercials.
Mhm.
And as I am retired from a very large company as a server administrator and a webmaster. And it kind of was after I took the buyout and retired, it was kind of the next logical step to go into online business.
Mhm.
And being that I had such a affinity for advertising and I took marketing in college, I decided, well, why not?
Mhm.
And 10 years later, here I am.
Fantastic. And obviously, we benefit from that. Our audience and our students benefit from it. And so we're going to kind of dig into this a little bit tonight because I'm just going to be really frank. A lot of people think that all we do at our company is record a couple things, throw a video up on the internet, and sit back and collect a check. And you and I, both on the backside of that, know it's far from it. And with everything that's gone on in our world in the last 18 months or so, a lot more people are looking at marketing themselves or being online more, getting things out there. And so we're going to talk around those three big myths of social media. And so let's start with the first one, which I've already kind of alluded to. Tell us, what's the biggest myth in social media?
The biggest myth in social media is something I call the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. Because guess what? They won't, because they don't have the address and they don't know who you are.
Right? And
Right.
so, in other words, somebody can't just record something or create something, throw it up on the web, throw it up on a Facebook page, put a couple Instagram posts out, and automatically they're making enough money to support their family and pay their mortgage.
No. And, along with this is how the algorithm actually works. And people, don't understand how that happens.
Mhm.
Getting in front of your ideal client requires consistency. It requires that you have done the research and are speaking their language, which leads, we'll talk about, in point number two. But the way the algorithm works is it's kind of like the algorithm is going to test you to see how congruent and how consistent and how serious you are. If you start an Instagram page or a Facebook business page, Twitter, anything, and you throw up a couple of posts, you may get some followers, but when you stop engaging, the algorithm forgets about you. Just like in life, if you are not consistent, you don't show up on the feed, people forget about you. And so one of the things that helps the algorithm know who to put your content in front of, is consistency and showing up. I know a lot of people want to build a website or create a Facebook page, and they're overwhelmed thinking, well, I have to post 3 times a day. Nothing could be farther than the truth. Nothing. You can post 3 times a week and get more views than you do every day, because you can also overcrowd, which we kind of do that when we start out at first. When we are researching our audience, we kind of overcrowd, but then we find our little smooth spot. And so a lot of people come to me and they're overwhelmed because they've heard other marketers tell them that they have to show up 14 times a day, that all they need is one ad, and nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah, I know that one of the things that we've talked about in the marketing that you've done with us is that we have to freshen things up periodically. Because if we use the same image or the same exact verbiage every single time, the concept becomes quick eyeball on it. Oh, I've seen that already. Swipe and you move on. And maybe there's new information farther down, but I totally missed it because I thought I'd already seen it all, right?
Yes, that's social media. That's called banner blindness. You get
Mhm.
those banners on top of websites, you just automatically ignore them because you know that they say the same thing. Social media is like that too. When you're cruising through the feed, one of the things, that's very important on social media is what's called visual communications. So, as you know, there are pictures that we get interaction on, and not all of it's very good, because someone will come to us assuming that the baby in the crib, we're really putting them in an unsafe situation when it was just a photo op. But we have
Mhm.
people that will jump up, and what they don't understand is actually that's good for us, because the way the algorithm works in essence, all attention is good attention.
Mhm.
Algorithm cannot tell you if it was good or bad. Even if you hit that little angry emoji, just to the algorithm, it thinks you like it and it shows you more. So all the people that come for us over our pictures just see more of us.
Mhm. And the reality is, our students are not only very well educated around safe sleep and using your example, but they're also smart enough to know that it's just a photo op. And who doesn't love a cute baby? You know,
A cute baby with little stars around it and a little hat. Yes, we put our babies to sleep like that. No,
yeah,
yeah,
well, but they're delicious, aren't they?
they are. And
So,
some of the pictures I find I just love, but I know better. I know better.
right. So, building it alone is not going to make them come. So,
Mm-mm.
myth number one, if you build it, they are not necessarily going to come. You have to do other things in order to engage your audience and get them coming, right?
Yeah, it's like a
So,
pilot for a TV show that the pilot airs, but then it was canceled, so the series never takes off.
mhm. So, I have a question around myth number two. I like babies. I think they're awesome. Does that mean just because I think I should write an article on why this particular diaper is the best one as long as you hold it upside down and create a website about that, I'm going to generate an audience of like-minded people?
No. The one thing I see the most is, and this is human nature, we all have preferences.
Mhm.
You like something, you think to yourself, well, I have an idea and I think that it's fantastic and I'm going to put it out there to the world. But you don't do research and you don't understand that there are 3 other versions of that, or that someone did do the research and no one likes it. So you think, I'm going to put together an offer. I'm going to put together a guide on the ABCs of making butter, because everyone loves butter, but you neglect to do the research and come to find out that everyone loves butter, but no one wants to make it.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to go buy it. Research is very, very important. It's the smallest things will really affect this as well. So I like to use the example of dog training, puppy training. You can build an audience based on the words housebreaking, or you can build an audience based on puppy training. And those are 2 totally different things. When you research it, you figure out which language you want to use. Which audience is it that you're trying to attract? Is it the people that use word number 1, or the people that use word number 2? And people don't think that this is very serious, but doing the research and understanding the needs, wants, and language people are using is how we reach them. Because if we pop up in front of them with something that they want, because it's always about something they want, never need, and we're speaking their language, it captures their attention. Plus, it really shows that we know who we're marketing to, who we're speaking to.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just because I might like it and think it's amazing doesn't mean there's an audience out there for it. And if I don't do the research, if I don't investigate, if I don't check and see, I might be spending all my time, my effort, and my money creating something that's going to completely flop, correct?
Yes, yes. And you can't get that time or money back, or just the energy that you are going to waste being just frustrated and exasperated, thinking, I'm never going to build an audience on social media, when nothing could be farther than the truth. You really can.
Mhm. Well, you and I both know that social media has certainly disrupted the marketing world. It's disrupted the print magazine and newspaper world. It's disrupted a ton of things that are routes for those of us who've been around for a while may have used in the past to reach potential people. And one of those things that a lot of people are running around saying, it just isn't effective anymore, it doesn't really work, is email marketing. Is that true? Does email marketing still work, or is it dead like we hear from a lot of people?
The biggest one of the myth number 3, this is the biggest myth, that email marketing is not effective, and that nothing could be further than the truth, especially today. Today, with privacy safeguards in place for Apple devices and things like that, we don't get the opportunity to appear in front of our ideal audience as many times as we were in the past. We can choose not to collect data, which means we aren't shown things. So the only way to really get around that is to understand that we own our email list. When people sign up for a free guide or resource that we are offering, they're on our email list. So with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, if it all blows up tomorrow, we can still reach them. We can still speak to them. We can still connect with them with our email lists. Email lists, if you look back on online marketing, even back in 2014, email lists was all the rage. Then someone stepped out and said email lists were not the rage, and everybody was getting good results just on the algorithms. But now more than ever today, making that connection and being trusted enough to be granted that way to connect is more important than ever.
Mhm.
We can't mitigate the changes in the algorithms. We can't mitigate changes just when it comes to devices. We can mitigate the changes in our email addresses, our
Mhm.
email list.
Absolutely. And I know that, when we first started, we didn't really see or understand the value of it, because that was the message we were being told. And the longer we've been in business, the more value that I understand exists within that list. So that's been really great. Um, if somebody's sitting out there and they say, okay, Lynn, this is all great, whatever, but I don't want to deal with all this stuff. I don't want to deal with social media. I don't want to be on the internet. I don't want to deal with an email. I don't even know what an email list is or how I'm supposed to build this. What is an option for somebody out there?
To hire someone who does, because one of the biggest myths when it comes to being an entrepreneur is you have the skill for your offer, but you are not a marketer, you are not a list builder, you are not a social media maven. And when we try to wear all hats in our business, it really is counterproductive, because we're worrying about, okay, did we get this many views on this video? Like me, I report views, I look at the metrics. The metrics are real to me. These numbers I can test, track, and tweak any strategy that I am putting forward, right? It's hard to do that. And it's really hard to learn all the ins and the outs and keep up with the changes and the feeds and the algorithms while still running your business and being the one in authority.
Mhm.
It's difficult. When you first start out, you think, I'm going to learn how to do a website, I'm going to put stuff on Facebook, and I'm going to handle it all. But when it comes to really, really focusing your energy on what you do best, I think that we forget that we're not good at everything.
Mhm.
We should focus on our own genius and hire another genius to take care of the things that we know nothing about, we don't care about, or we know we need it, we just don't want to deal with it. You just
Mhm.
don't want to.
Mhm.
That's the best way if you are looking to build a sustainable business. It is the beauty of creating a cohesive and effective team.
Mhm. Absolutely. And, we laugh at me about this a lot.
Hmm.
But, I understand the basics of what we need to know, but that's about as far as my depth goes around this kind of stuff. And we get too far in depth and I literally tune out because I can't even follow it, let alone focus on it. And I'm bored out of my mind. But I also know the benefit of it, which is why we have you. So I would absolutely agree for anybody out there who's thinking about this. Can you learn all this stuff? Yeah, you can. You can go out there, you can research it, you could probably even take classes, but why? I would much rather focus on what I love because then that passion for what I do comes through in every word that I speak and it shares the message I want to share about my important stuff. And I'd much rather let somebody like you deal with the things that you are really good at and that you get excited about doing every day.
I get excited about metrics and numbers, and it's, that's my thing, and babies are your thing. I mean,
Yeah,
I love babies, but I would much rather look at the ad dashboard than, I don't know, listen to my own grandchildren sometimes. I mean,
right.
it's just not my genius.
Absolutely. So there has been some really great insight shared here. Is there anything else that you think, as we're talking about this, if I could only pick one thing to leave everybody with, this is what it would be. This would be the thing I would want everybody to remember from this talk.
Yeah, the number one thing is you cannot sell or create a sustainable business without an audience, period. One Facebook ad, 3 Instagram posts, and one website is not going to build the sustainability that you're looking forward to, that a lot of marketers promise in this field. It requires dedication, it requires time, it requires commitment, consistency, congruency. And even if you hire someone to build you a funnel, it could take up to 90 days to crack it.
Mhm.
So Rome was not built in a day. So if I could leave anyone with any bit of advice, it is, while Rome wasn't built in a day, and you cannot sell without an audience, it takes time. The first step is still a first step. Every small thing that you do, every post that you put up actually are steps that's leading you in the right direction. So overwhelms for suckers. Let someone else handle it, or just get up there and be you. But remember that all of these marketers that you see in your feed that are promising you amazing results, 9 times out of 10, that's false. That's really false.
Yeah. And I find that a lot of times they're making their money just from trying to sell you something rather than from putting their own things into practice
Hmm.
and actually making money out of what they claim to be an expert in. And so, I think that carries weight no matter what your industry in. And I know that it has been a big deal for us that um, knowing that I actually worked with the babies and have done it and worked with the families and been their hands on, it resonates really well. And I think it carries over into social media as well. Just because somebody can make something pretty doesn't mean they know what they're doing with it.
No. And that know, like, and trust comes along with your authority because you are the best in the biz. You know.
It makes a huge difference. So
And
thank you for sharing these takeaways with us, Lynn. I really appreciate it. And for joining us on Real Talk. It is always fun to chat with you anyway, but it's fun to chat with you in this venue for a change. So I
well, thank you
really
for having
appreciate
me.
it. What'd you say?
I said thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have any questions about this topic or anything related to social media, put them in the feed and tag Lynn Miller or tag Newborn Care Solutions, and we'll make sure that you get answers. And if you're wanting to watch this segment or any of our past Real Talk episodes, go over to newborncaresolutions.com and click on the education tab or catch us on our YouTube channel where you simply put Newborn Care Solutions and Real Talk into the search engine. Thanks for joining us and have a great night.